Hello and welcome to our recital that we are thrilled to be recording here at the Atlas Performing Arts Center in Washington, D.C. My name is Teresa Ferrara, and my lovely collaborative pianist is Allison Freeman. Our program for you today is in honor of Women's History Month, so all of the pieces that you'll be hearing either have text by women poets or were written by women composers. We'll begin with a set by living African-American composer, Dr. Roy Belfield Jr. The text for these songs come from three female American poets born at the end of the 19th century: Georgia Douglas Johnson, Sarah Teasdale, and Louise Driscoll. The first song is dedicated to Dina Moore, Dr. Belfield's close friend and colleague that inspired him to write something other than choral music. Dr. Belfield also told me that his works are inspired by the music of Florence Price and Undine Smith Moore, which I was thrilled to learn because you'll be getting to hear some of their music later on in the program. This is Dreams of the Heart.
And nothing
I've always been drawn to the poetry of Emily Dickinson, and her work has been set by many composers. One notable example is Aaron Copland's song cycle, 12 Poems of Emily Dickinson. I'm personally particularly drawn to her poems with themes of life, mortality, and the afterlife. So I've selected the 2 songs from the Copland cycle that refer explicitly to heaven, followed by the final song of the cycle, in which the protagonist meets death personified, who accompanies her on a carriage ride into the afterlife. I promise it's not as grim as it sounds. I'll then close out that set with Richard Huntley's setting of Will There Really Be a Morning, which I like to juxtapose with the Copland because my interpretation of that text is that morning and day may refer to heaven or some sort of afterlife. I find it very humble yet hopeful.
Why do they shut me out of heaven? Did I sing too loud? But I can sing a little minor, timid as a bird. Wouldn't the angels try me just once more? Just see if I troubled them. But don't shut the door, don't shut the door. Oh, if I were the gentleman in the white robes, and they were the little hand that knocked, could I forbid, could I forbid, could I forbid? Why do they shut me out of heaven? Did I sing too Going to heaven, going to heaven, going to heaven. I don't know when. Pray do not ask me how. Indeed, I'm too astonished to think of answering you. Going to heaven, going to heaven. How dim it sounds. And yet it will be done, as sure as fox will home at night unto the shepherd's farm. Perhaps you're going to, who knows? If you should get there first, save just a little place for me, close to the tomb I lost. The smallest robe will fit me, and just a bit of crown, for you know we do not mind our dress when we are going home. Going to heaven, going to heaven. I'm glad I don't believe it, for it would stop my breath, and I'd like to look a little more at such a curious earth. We slowly drove. He knew no haste, and I had put away my labor and my leisure too for his civility. We passed a school where children played. Their lessons scarcely done. We passed the fields of gazing grain. We passed the setting sun. We paused before a house that seemed a swelling of the ground. The roof was scarcely visible, the cornice but a mound. Since then 'tis centuries, but each feels shorter than the day I first surmised the horses' heads were torn Will there really be a morning? Is there such a thing as day? Could I see it from the mountains if I were as tall as they? Has it feet like water lilies? Has it feathers like a bird? Is it brought from famous countries of which I have never heard? Oh, some scholar, oh, some sailor, oh, some wise man from the skies, please to tell this little pilgrim where that place good morning, where that place good Is there such a thing as
These next 5 pieces are by African American women composers. The first is by Betty Jackson King, with text from William Shakespeare's As You Like It. King was born in Chicago in 1928, and she had a rich musical education. She even attended the Peabody Conservatory in Baltimore, Maryland, which is where Allison and I first met and collaborated in school. King was also president of the National Association of Negro Musicians throughout the 1970s and early 80s, and she is best known for her vocal works. This is In the Springtime.
In the springtime, the only pretty ring-time, when birds do sing, hey ding-a-ding-ding, sweet lovers love the spring. Sweet lovers love the spring. In the springtime, the only pretty ring-time, when birds do sing, hey ding-a-ding-ding, sweet lovers love the spring. Sweet lovers love the spring.
Undine Smith Moore is considered the dean of Black women composers. She was a renowned music educator, and she considered teaching itself an art. Though she was a phenomenal composer, she often doubted her own abilities. She once said, "One of the most evil effects of racism in my time was the limits it placed upon the aspirations of Blacks, so that though I have been making up and creating music all my life, in my childhood or even in college, I would not have thought of calling myself a composer or aspiring to be one." Unfortunately, musicians of color and all people of color are still facing all forms of racism and discrimination today. But I want to share this music and these stories with you in an effort to bring these all too often underrepresented voices to the forefront and honor and celebrate their lives and contributions. And I hope in turn that inspires you to do the same. The text of this next piece is by Greek poetess Sappho, which makes it one of 2 songs on the program that has text and music by women. It's also one of my favorite songs to sing, so I hope you enjoy.
Let the wind cry on the dark mountain, bending the ash trees and the tall hemlocks with the great voice of thunderous legions. How I adore saints come in. Oh, come down, angels, trouble the water. Come down, angels, trouble the water. Come down, angels, trouble the water. Let God saints come in. I think I hear the sinner say, let God saints come in. My Savior taught me how to pray. Let God saints come in. Oh, come down, angels, trouble the water. Come down, angels, trouble the water. Come down, angels, trouble the water. Let God saints come in. Down, 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 down. Oh, down, trouble the water. Let God saints come.
In 1933, Florence Price became the first Black female composer to have a symphony performed by a major American orchestra. She had a great musical career despite the fact that she had to battle both racism and sexism in Jim Crow America. She composed all sorts of music, both vocal and instrumental, so I couldn't program this recital without having Allison play one of her piano pieces for you. So you'll get to hear one piano solo and one song of Florence Price, but you'll get to hear from both what a phenomenal composer she was. I had to include this next piece on the program because I had the honor of transcribing the original manuscript of this piece. It's by Jean Ivey, who taught composition and electronic music for many years at the Peabody Conservatory, where she also founded the Electronic Music Studio in the 60s. I had a friend and colleague in grad school who got to actually process Jean Ivey's collection for the Peabody Archives. So she found this song, which I then got to sing on a program that we collaborated on together. We were actually not sure that the song actually was ever performed before, so that was very exciting. I'll have to visit the archives to find some more of Jean Ivey's works, but for now, I wanted to share this one little gem with you, entitled Serenade.
Upon the stars, my love, and shame them with thine eyes, on which then on the lights above they hang more destinies. Night's beauties, the harmony of blending shades and light. Then, lady, up, look out, and be a sister to the night. Sleep not, thine image wakes, for I within my watching breast. Sleep not, from her soft sleep should fly, who robs all hearts of rest. Nay, lady, from thy slumbers break, and make this darkness gay, with locks whose brightness well might make of darker nights a day.
These last two pieces are by living American composer Lori Laitman. If you are not familiar with her works, go check them out. She has written plenty of songs, choral works, even multiple operas, and she is an inspiration to women in the classical music world today. These two songs bookended the program perfectly for me because we started by talking about dreams, followed by the poetry of Emily Dickinson. So I'll be closing with If I, which once again has text by Emily Dickinson, followed by a song that Lori Laitman wrote both the poetry and the music to, called Dreaming.
If I can stop one heart from breaking, I shall not live in vain. If I can ease one life aching, or cool one pain, or help one fainting shall not live in vain. I shall not live in vain. I shall not live in Some prefer coffee, some prefer tea, some prefer chocolate, but not me. The one thing that I truly savor doesn't come in any flavor. The item that I really crave starts with R and ends in Ave. R-A-E-E. So much fun to clip and save. I'm dreaming of a great review. Big fat titles, dark and bold, surely worth my weight in gold. So sweet to hug and hold. I'm dreaming of a great review. Ooh, it gives me such a thrill to read that I possess a voice so captivating and rare, and to learn of all that I can do sends chills right up and down my derriere. Doesn't matter if it's true, think of all that it can do. If it stinks, I'll tell of you. 'Cause I'm dreaming of a great first great review.
I actually have one final piece for you today, which is ironic in its programming because it is neither by a woman poet nor a woman composer. It is, however, in honor of somebody that spent her life breaking barriers and fighting for gender equality and women's rights, Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. As many of you know, Justice Ginsburg was an avid opera supporter and fan, so I'll be closing with Dove Sono from Mozart's Le Nozze di Figaro, or The Marriage of Figaro, partially because it was her favorite opera, and also because it represents something I think that we can all relate to. Reflecting on the best of times while living through the worst of times, and yet having hope and fighting for a better tomorrow. Thank you again to the Atlas Performing Arts Center for having us today.
E Susanna non vien, sono ansiosa di saper come il conte accolse la proposta. Alquanto ornito il progetto mi par, e ad una sposa si vive Quella